welcome to Buster H.R. Johnson's Unmasked, Episode 3. What's up, fellas?
What's up, y'all?
Mark? What's up, Buster?
How's everybody doing?
Doing good.
Man, I couldn't be doing any better, man.
I hear you. I'm the same way, man.
So what y'all know new this week?
Man, I don't know. We might as well do a little wrestling news. Let me ask you this. I noticed that SPW didn't run Ripley last Friday. They ended up running Trenton last minute at the EIW building. Any of y'all got any clue what actually happened, what the reason was?
I got a great clue.
Can you tell us?
I can tell you exactly what happened.
Well,
Greg Anthony is what happened.
But how did he manage that? That's what I'm saying. I kind of had that idea.
He called people in house places saying that was not a commercial building, even though some business have been in there before Mike Shaw and Southern Pro Wrestling. So pretty shitty job. You know, when you go into somebody's territory, that's what they do. They cut you from behind, baby.
Hey, I told you the Brighton story, dude. I hate to hear that, really, because I thought they was going to really do good in Ripley. Are they going to get to go to Ripley, or are they now got to move somewhere else?
Well, Mike Shaw, I talked to Mike, and he's going to the Chamber of Commerce, and knowing there is businesses that have been in that building before, it looks like everything's going to work out for him. I know he's got a lot of other stuff going on right now with his kid going in a car wreck, and
I seen
so
prayers
out to the Shaw family for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, no doubt.
I don't think she's but like 15 or 16 or something. Man, you hate to hear anything. Look,
that's sad.
We wrestlers have a lot of wrestling heat, but I don't think very few of us, if any, really want to see any of us hurt or harmed or our families harmed. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure.
I'm with you, man. Prayers go out to them, dude. Man, I'd hate to be in that situation. It's scary. I got kids, and I know I'd have been going crazy. So, you know, I was surprised they even ran the show because of that, to be honest with you. When that happened and it went around about how bad it was, I kind of figured that if it would have been me, I probably would have canceled anyway and postponed it at least for another week. You know, right. I hope everything goes good for them. I hope I seen where I think the girl is actually alert now.
That sounds good, like good news.
Hopefully she's doing a lot better. And yeah, it's sad, dude. It's sad.
Man.
Hey, Buster, turn your volume down a little bit. You're echoing.
All right. I'm going to get me a headset hopefully by next week. What about that?
There you go. That's perfect.
Can you still hear me good?
We're going to call you Mr. Perfect.
There you go, man. I don't know about all that. I'm far from perfect, dude.
Hey,
all right,
let's talk about your days in KAW. I always study wrestling so I can get some good finishes. You know, shit that happened 30 years ago, people forget, man. I have watched and studied a lot of wrestling film, but somehow I came over a young guy today named David Lee. Do you know who David Lee is, Buster?
David Lee Mullet, man. I'm going to tell you something. Him and Ronnie James, greatest rock and roll tag team in the history of rock and roll tag teams. Better than the Rock and Roll Express. Better than the Rock and Roll RPM.
That's what David Jett was saying.
Hey, them guys were awesome, man.
Hey, how did that gimmick happen, and how did you become involved with KAW?
All right, well, you know, Motley, Bull Payne, and Tasha Simone were cruising for pain. So I want to say maybe it was late 98. Bull Payne was going to be gone for a while. and that left Motley and Tasha. Motley needed a tag partner. So they brought me in, and me and Motley and Tasha, which Bull was still involved in it too. He was cruising. We were cruising for pain. So that's kind of where it started at. And then me and Motley tagged up for probably 6 or 8 months. I would say at least 6 months straight, going against the Littles, Brickhouse Brown and Danny B, PG-13, Bill Dundee, Stephen Dunn, countless people who came through KAW or stayed there. And then Motley left. Motley left out of nowhere. So then they had just brought Ron in, and he was going to be a singles guy. But it was his very first show. It was a Thanksgiving show that we did at not at the New Daisy, but on down from it. They put up a tent, a big tent, and we ran like Thanksgiving there, and I think maybe even Christmas night, if I'm thinking right. But it was a Thanksgiving night, and Motley left. So then all of a sudden, me and Ron had worked together all over the place at Moondogs and Osceola, and we'd known each other for years and years. So we already had chemistry. So they put us together, me and Sam Dollar and Ruthless Ron, and then we floated on in through till it transferred into Memphis Championship Wrestling. And when Memphis Championship Wrestling come along, they wanted to change us basically, wanted us to do something different. So the idea was floated, which I think it was the Blue Meanies idea, a gimmick called the mullets. Of course, I just cut all my fucking hair off. I mean, all those years I'd had long ass hair, and it wasn't 2 months after I cut my hair off. Here comes the mullet gimmick. So anyway, we decided, we're going to do it. We had a meeting with Golden, David Jett, and I think Meanie was even at the meeting, if I'm not mistaken. We met at Golden's house, and they kind of pitched the idea to us. And I mean, of course, we just got the developmental deal. So no matter what you're really thinking in your head, you're saying yes. You know what I mean? We'll give that shit a shot. You know what I mean? And we said, yeah. And we all, once the meeting was over, we all left. And truthfully, once we got me and Sam and Ron got together and got the car and headed home, we all was pretty well in agreement that, I mean, it wasn't like we were dreading it. You know what I mean? It was more like, let's give this shit a try. It's something different. Both of us had been doing the same thing since we basically started. I'd had a couple of different names, but I still was basically the same person altogether. No matter what, whether I was the Hellraiser or Buster Johnson, and hell, I didn't work for Bill Ash as Malice. Shit, long before TNA and that the guy who did Malice there come along. But like I said, it transferred into Memphis Championship Wrestling. They wanted us to do something different. And we all said, it was cool. Really, we all kind of looked forward to it. You know how you are. You'd be a little nervous. It's something kind of totally out of picture. But I got a little bit of mullet in me. I mean, Ron did too. We growed up in the 80s, 70s, and 80s. I mean, shit, when I was young, they called me the Fat Bon Jovi. I had the hair. I know shit. My mom called me the Fat Bon Jovi. I had the hair, fucking Stonewall's trench coat, snakeskin cowboy boots outside the pants, the whole gimmick. So it really wasn't that hard of a transfer. Now, the first night we did it, they originally wanted us to wear blue jeans and... Where were you on the first night? I can't hear you, Mark, at all, brother. If you can hear me, dude, I can't hear a word you're saying.
Where were you on the first night you did it?
Blytheville,
Arkansas.
I think we did it in Blytheville before we did it at TV.
At the VFW, probably.
No, he's at the Armory. That's back when everybody still could get the Armory and run the Armory. But the idea was to cut up blue jeans, concert T-shirts and stuff. But this idea come about like on a Saturday night it was pitched, and we're doing TV on Wednesday, and in between Saturday and Wednesday. Well, maybe we did do a TV first now that I think about it, but the first house show was Blytheville. Anyway, if we did TV first, I had to get something together. Ron was working at the time, so it was kind of up to me to come up with us some fucking shirts and shit. And so I thought the quickest thing was to do tie-dye. You know, just something that had some color to it, kind of made us distinctive. And, I mean, these were shitty tie-dye, too, because I can't fucking tie-dye. It was terrible. But anyway, so I'm pretty sure we did do the casino, a taping first. So we do a taping, and we're wearing the jeans and the T-shirts. And, man, you're in there wrestling. If you're used to wrestling in tights in your gear, you can't get in there. It's not comfortable in there in fucking jeans. And we've already got rips in them everywhere. So every time you do something, these motherfuckers are ripping out even more. Hell, I think time the first show was over, Ron's whole leg was ripped out. The ass end of mine were ripped completely out. But now, if we did the tapings first, the tapings went good. Got good crowd reaction and everything. Now, then we went to Blytheville that Saturday, and I'm pretty sure that's how it went. It was the tapings on a Wednesday and then Blytheville Saturday. When we got to Blytheville Saturday, all these people at Blytheville were used to Ruthless Ron and the Hellraiser.
Where is Ron at now?
He's in Memphis still. He's just
still
living
talk
life.
to
He's got, ever so often. He's got grandkids now, so he's just living life, you know.
He was a great worker, man.
Dude, one of the best. If you, me and him click off of each other. I mean, if we get together, it's. I feel like it's magic, because here's the one thing about me and Ron. When you put us together originally, when we first started tagging, I'm a little more stiff and intense. Ron's a little more laid back and cool. But when you put us together, I made him a little more intense. He made me a little more relaxed and cool. And man, I mean, shit, I've had the best matches I've ever had, me and Ron going against anybody pretty much. Dude's a killer worker, trained by Buddy Wayne. Awesome worker. Ron don't get the credit he deserves. Ron's really, really super good in the ring. That motherfucker can wrestle. He'll tie your ass he'll tie your ass in a fucking knot. He knows shit that you don't know he knows. I mean, this motherfucker can work, man. He can work and he can fucking, you know, you don't want to fuck with him out on the street. I mean, if you do, go try. I don't think it'll work out good for you. You know? But we did the gimmick at the TV tape, and then that Saturday we're in Blytheville. Like I said, all these people had watched us for the past 15 years, you know, at least 10 years working for Moondog. We've been in Blytheville, 50 times, 60 times over that time. So the first night we come out at Blytheville, I mean, it's fucking awkward. It's awkward for us. We're not really feeling it there because we kind of expected that. And maybe we caused a little bit of that by manifest destiny almost, by us kind of worrying that there would be a little pushback because these people all knew us. And to go from 2 weeks before we was the Hellraiser and Rufus Ron to now we're the Mullets, you know, it was a big shock. And I done forgot who we were. The match was, I mean, it wasn't one of the greatest matches. I don't remember nothing being fucked up. It's just no chemistry there. We finished the match and shit, and we got back up in the dressing room, and Golden come over and he said, "Man," he said, "y'all think we need to kill this shit off?" And by that time, we were up for it. We were into it. We just knew it needed to change. We knew the first thing we needed to come out of blue jeans and go back to wearing our tights. You know, the tie-dye shirts work fine, but we're wrestlers. I'm comfortable in my motherfucking gear and my shit. I'm used to that. I'm comfortable in it. So we come back with we told him, said, "No, I think we ought to give it let's try it. Give it a little bit. At least give it a couple more weeks and see how it goes." And really, from that night forward, it really clicked everywhere we went. We went back to wearing our tights. We added some bandanas like the Rock and Roll Express did to the tights, to our boots and shit. and we just kept making different color tie-dye shirts every time we turned around. I mean, I really enjoyed it.
And your gimmick was really you were the best rock and roll tag team.
Well, there's a little hook
That was
to
the
that.
gimmick.
I wouldn't really say the gimmick was we were actually the best and most exciting rock and roll tag team. It was almost a little bit of a joke on us, but we were in on it. It was like if you watch, there's some of the videos where when the match was getting too exciting, or when our opponents was dragging the tempo down, you'd cut to a bullet music video during the match. And then when you click back, we'd be kicking ass again. It was cool. Here's the thing. Me and Ron I 100% believe we could have carried that gimmick forever because it was fun. Here's the thing. We didn't really have to change our wrestling. We could still wrestle the way we always did. Changed a few of the things we done the way we done them. But it was a fun gimmick. I really wish it would have lasted longer, you know. I had a blast doing it, man. It was one of my favorite.
How did it feel with Lance Russell calling your match? I mean, Lance Russell, one of the greatest voices ever to call a match.
Well, you know, I'd been on USWA in 1997 before they closed. I was there when they shut down. I was mainly putting motherfuckers over every week.
So you're the reason why they shut down.
I'm the reason I killed that motherfucker. You know, him and Jeff Jarrett's got a running joke where he kills off the promotions and companies and groups. Yeah, I killed USWA right the fuck off, man. No, I'd had him call some of my matches before, but that was a dream, dude. I mean, it's Lance Russell. Look, my first announcers were Lance Russell and Gordon Solis, and Lance before anybody.
Right.
I had Lance and Lawler before I had anybody else. But man, I mean, that was one of my always a dream. You know, I hope one day I can get one of my matches called by Lance Russell. Like Lance was a cool dude, man. Lance is just, you know, always nice every time I met him. I did a commentary out with him and I think David Jett on one of the Memphis Championship Wrestling shows. I did commentary while Ron had a single match, and I had a good time with Lance, man. Here's the thing, there wasn't nothing discussed or talked about. It was like, you're going to go out and get on commentary, be on commentary with them while the match is going on. Me and Jet didn't talk. I assume Lance and Jet had talked, you know, because they were doing the show, but I didn't talk to either one of them. We went live and boom, it went on air, and you know, they reacted to what I said. I reacted to what they said. Real simple stuff, man. But Lance is like a dream come true for me. I mean,
now, Buster, where was David Jett from? Was he a Memphis like radio DJ or what?
Dude, you know, that motherfucker's a mystery. I mean, really, I don't really truthfully know. I want to say he was from somewhere around Mississippi.
He did a great job.
Dude, I mean, he's one of the guys we thought maybe, especially at that time with the Attitude Era and still kicking in at its end. I thought maybe he might have been one of the guys that WWF would have gave a shot on one of their B shows, you know, or maybe he would have been perfect for the new ECW product when they tried to remake ECW.
Yeah, a
guy like David Jett would have been the perfect tails to Joey Styles' head. You know what I mean? Because Joey Styles used to do that by himself.
Man,
David Jett pretty much always did KOW.
Hey, we got a guy right here on the podcast that can do a great Joey Styles. Hit it, Mikey.
Go for it, man.
Oh my God!
Hey, that sounds just like him.
Hey,
That's
man, that dude is my top. He's in my top 5. He is in my 5 for sure.
Yeah, I think he's one of the best.
Oh, for what he had to go endure. Oh, absolutely. You don't just come up with that script. That's all off the dome, man, and that's classic.
See, Jet. I mean, Jet was good like that. Jet was. I mean, I thought truthfully, he was perfect for KAW. You know, he was perfect. You didn't really need.
I agree on that. So did you ever work KAW at the Mardi Gras?
Yeah. When I
Wednesday nights.
Wednesday nights, when I first come in with them at the Mardi Gras, it was right past the point where, you know, when they first come in town, the Daisy and anywhere they went, the Mardi Gras, and when they first hit there, they had packed crowds.
That's right. Mardi Gras was where they did their actually TV tapings there for a long time.
When I came in, the crowds were already, you know, the newness had wore off of it. Here's the thing. Back then, they used to play the music through the whole match, which that's cool for TV if that's your hook. But they used to do that in the house shows, and like we'd come back, Golden would want people to man, y'all go out and get heat. Well, here's the thing. It's hard to get heat when there ain't no rules. When no matter what you do, the referee's drinking a beer. You can't get heat if there ain't no rules.
Drinking a beer. Look, the referee drank the beer and he did a 3 count with his feet.
Hey, if there's no laws to break, you can't be a fucking criminal. Simple as that. So you can't get heat. On top of that, they played the music at the house shows too, and we all know, without people being able to hear the bumps when they happen and the sound of the ring, when you take that away, you take a whole gamut you take a big part of the whole wrestling package away. You know, no rules means you can't get heat, and nobody can really be a heel or a baby because no matter what you do, it don't matter because nobody gives a shit. So
that's right.
You come back, man, why ain't y'all getting heat? And we tell him, you can't, I mean, how fuck we gonna get heat when the referee's just sitting there drinking a beer? And we preached it to him, and over time, they finally killed the music. Immediately killing the music during the matches made the most giant difference on TV and on house shows. Made a giant difference. And then Alki kind of figured out, you know, it does work better when I count. And like if you're choking the guy and he don't admonish you, you ain't doing nothing wrong, so you can't get heat. The people understand heat when the referee's on you for doing something wrong and he's all over you admonishing you. But they clicks in their head that I, as the heel, must be doing something I shouldn't be doing. So I'm a bad guy. I deserve heat. Well, it's subliminal to them. But when you don't do that, it just leaves them flat. To me, it just leaves them flat. It's like, I mean, if the referee don't care, why do I? You know?
Hey, I'll tell you what, I got a great KAW story. Me and Forrest rode up there on a Wednesday night. We ended up working each other. Tracy Smothers was on the card that night, all right? So this cat was a special referee. Needless to say, he no-sowed Tracy Smothers. So as soon as we get back in the dressing room, Tracy Smothers tackles this guy and it's whooped his ass, man. He could have really killed the guy, but he took it easy on him. He's like, hey, this is how I make my living. You better sell and you better do what the fuck I tell you, basically. And, man, I love Tracy Smothers, man.
Look, he's a cool ass dude. Yeah. I never got to work with him but a few times. But look, one night I think he's maybe working Motley. Oh, it's a TV match. He's working Motley. Tasha's out there with Motley. So there's a spot where he finally hits the big elbow off the top rope and or the uppercut. I don't remember what it was, but Motley's down for the count. He covers Motley. Here I come. So I come and break up the count. So I break up the count and I'm on him. And so here comes Tasha, and I kind of push him over to Tasha, and she grabs him and she yells, slap him. And, you know, I mean, I was good and smart then and shit, but I was also fired up too. So she yells, slap him. So I hauled off and slapped the shit out of him, man. Slapped the shit out of him. Of course, he was cool about it. He sold it like hell. I think Motley come up then and hit him with a finisher. But when we got to the back, he never said a word about it, man. He told me I had great timing on being where I should have been when it was time to break up the finish. Because Motley wasn't going to kick out, and if I hadn't got there, it would have been a 3 count. But he never said a word about the slapping, and I mean, it was harder than I didn't plan on doing it. It just happened. You know what I mean? But Tracy was a tough dude. I worked with him another time or two after that, and man, it was even
Tracy
better.
will whoop your ass in a minute.
Yeah, and he ain't got. He don't seem to hold his tongue on anything. If he got something he needs to say or felt like need to be said, he did say it.
Yeah,
like
but I'll tell you what, though, he would walk around the dressing room and shake everybody's hand. Man, probably one of the nicest guys I ever met. Just don't piss him off.
Yeah, he was a good dude. He treated everybody equal. I mean, that's just the way what I seen of him. Like you said, when he come in the dressing room, it wasn't like he treat Jerry Lawler no better than he treated you.
That's right.
That's right. So
hey, we got a legend listen to the podcast right now. Old Ricky Welch, one half of the Memphis Storm.
There you go.
He said, and he's got a good point here. There is a big difference between workers today and in the old school days.
I mean, I don't even really consider myself old school because I broke in. I started wrestling in '92.
Look in the mirror. You're old.
I am old, but I don't really. It's hard to say it that way because
I know it, bro.
I don't look at it like I come from the old school, and I mean, there's a big difference when I broke in than there is now. Here's the thing. Here's the myth I want to expel.
What year, Buster? What year did you have your first match?
1992.
Okay, I had mine in '91. So
yeah, I started training.
There is, and I'll tell you what. Me and Ricky worked a lot of shows together in Crowsville, and a lot has changed, brother. And for sure, when you could tater somebody back then and everything be okay, but now when you tater somebody, they're gonna start whining and go to the promoter and say, "Fire this guy. He don't know how to work and this and that." Fuck that. We made the business look real.
Well, when I broke in the business, there was still kayfabe. I mean, Vince had done said it was all a work to get out of paying taxes and shit, athletic commissions and stuff. But
it's entertainment.
You were still somewhat respected. Most people, when you said you were a professional wrestler, most people, I found more than not, I didn't get it's fake as much as I did. Oh, that's cool. You know what I mean? More of a really, truthfully, where I'm from, most everybody are fans of professional wrestling. A lot of people like to get out on the street and lie and say they don't watch it. Now, a lot of people nowadays probably don't watch it. But it's just so much has changed. Like I said, even since the days I broke in, so much is different now. From the way it's handled in the back, everything, And here's something that I've been seeing so much. All these guys, a lot of these young guys, you hear a lot of, if we all just worked together and we all wrestled, just all came together and made one big company, everything would be better. Further is from the truth. Here's the thing. The more people there are, the more pieces of the pie, the thinner the pieces get. So you get to a point where...
Stab each other in the back.
You get to a point where if there's so many people wanting their cut of the pie, there ain't enough. Your cut ain't worth enough to even do it. Think about this. What does this sound like to y'all? Pro wrestling, the NWA, these certain grown-ass men got together and split up the country into territories. Okay. Basically, they split up the country into turf. I run this part of the country, you run that part of the country. We try not to overlap each other in any way unless it's a joint worked out thing. What does that sound like to y'all? Where we can all make money. I mean, that's mafia style shit. Here's the thing, these old dudes, that's why it all gets it used to be run like the mafia, because it pretty much was. These old guys didn't want 100 other little companies out here working. That's why they did what they did. They split up the country, and each one of them got their part. Each one of them went and got good regional TV, and each one of them had their own territory that they ran, and it had boundaries to the next territory. And like I said, they tried to stay out of each other's territory and not fuck with each other's business. The wrestling business was designed that way. It was not designed for everybody to work together and everybody get such a paper thin slice of the pie that it ain't even worth getting. You can't even see what you got. The wrestling business is inherently designed to divide. It's just that way. It's designed to divide people. It's definitely designed to divide the wrestlers. The only thing all these old guys who formed the NWA, they had to for all to see that if they could provide all these wrestlers with decent livings most of the time, some of these territories you could go make a killing at if you were in the right spot. Sure, every territory had their guys eating pork and beans and shit, but if you got yourself in the right spot in certain territories, you could get wealthy there. By doing that, they gave all these wrestlers different places to work. They didn't have to stay in one territory. They could move around when they done run their course over here. Then they could go over here and spend 3-6 months. It's designed that way. It's not designed for everybody to get together like it's Woodstock and have one big wrestling show and divide the door. It's never going to work that way because, just to be a wrestler, I think you got to have a certain amount of ego. I just do. Even from the smallest, from the most outlaw worker there is, for him to decide he wanted to be a wrestler, no matter how bad he or she is, they had enough ego to give it a shot. To go. All
right, so let's ask this question, Mike. You first want to answer. The rumor is that Vince McMahon has sold the WWE, WWF. Do you think ever territory wrestling would come back?
Man, I think for a while it'll be what it is, until because if the sale goes through, that's not just something that happens overnight. We know that. So the months after will be what to watch. But for me right now, I think the next 2 years is WWE and AEW for national broadcasts. And then you got your Memphis Wrestling, your BCW Wrestling, the other local wrestling's has got the TV shows. They're still going to be there, but until all that actually happens, then you'll know where the money's at. I can't say yay or nay.
What do you think, Buster?
I'll be honest with you. I think if there's ever the perfect opportunity to maybe rebirth territory wrestling, for wrestling to be reborn, this would be it. Here's the thing, and this is my honest truth. I can't watch WWF. I don't watch it. I just can't. I love wrestling. Like I said, it's my first love, but I cannot watch it. Here's the thing. There's no possible way it can get any bigger than it is. No possible way. So I really hope I hope they sell to the Saudis. I hope the motherfucker shuts down. And then I hope maybe some guys will be smart enough to get together and start divvying up the country and going and getting good regional TV on local TV stations. And it's the closest chance the rebirth of the territories is ever going to have would be if that happens. Look, WWE is gone as far as it can go, in my opinion. I just don't see where they can go any further up. AEW is not even in the league with them. That's just the honest truth. even though Tony Khan and them are billionaires and may have more money than Vince and them, as far as the two wrestling companies, WWE is so fucking far ahead of AEW, it ain't even funny. They ain't even in the same realm.
No.
But I'll be honest with you. I'd like to see it happen. I'd like to see Vince sell it. Here's the thing. I believe 100% if it gets sold to the Saudis, which I don't think it will, because
if they do, WWE's done.
I believe that, and I just think if it does, then Vince knew that and was ready to take that $6.5 billion I've seen out there or whatever. And here's the thing: Vince is old. Vince has pretty much done all he can do with it, other than sell it for the most money he can possibly get out of it now. But yes, I'd like to see it happen, and I'd like to see territories. That's the thing about last week we did the rankings, and we talked about Memphis wrestling. The one thing that I wish Dustin did more than he does, I wish Dustin or somebody would start running a Monday night, a Tuesday night, a Wednesday night, a Thursday night, a Friday night, a Saturday night, or at least start that with a couple of nights during the week, maybe a Saturday show plus their TV. If we had somebody creating a territory and running nightly house shows in these different towns, it would probably push a lot of these companies out of business that really should be out of business. I mean, it's just as simple as that. There are so many wrestling companies around our area that most of them shouldn't even be in business. And that's just as simple as I can say it. I mean, and people might look at me fucked up for looking at it that way, but I mean, you got to have a leader of the pack. But to be the leader of the pack, in my eyes, you not only need to have the best TV, you also need to control the territory. And you control the territory by running that motherfucker every week, every night of the week, to the point where there's no denying that, hey, this is the top company around. It kind of regulates everything else. It regulates all the other companies. Most of the so-so ones will eventually die off, and only the real good ones will stay alive. And that's the way it should be, because the real good ones are the companies that these TV companies, are going to need to get their talent from. You know? I mean, it is what it is, y'all. Wrestling is, I mean, we all, I think, agree, and I know me and Mark do, I believe wrestling dies more and more every fucking day. You know, I just do. Especially my wrestling, the wrestling that made me want to be a wrestler, that inspired me. You don't even see that shit no more. I mean, you just don't even see it, man.
You know, when I watch wrestling, man, I go to YouTube. I watch the 70s and 80s of the Memphis, the Georgia Championship Wrestling, the World Class out of Texas. Those, I mean, that was the shit right there. But I have hope since Memphis Wrestling has come back. You got Dustin, you got Johnny Dotson, and I know the storylines. Hey, Mike Anthony has put himself on the map thanks to Memphis Wrestling. I didn't know who Mike Anthony was. Johnny Dotson's doing his stuff at Bluff City Wrestling. Hey, I'm going to tell you right now, that is territory wrestling coming back.
Hey, I'm glad you said that. I noticed this weekend you posted a little picture. You posted a shot picture of the Bluff City Wrestling studio door. Can you give us any info? I mean, obviously you were there. How was it? Did you like it?
I love Brad. Hey, I'll tell you what, and I told Johnny this after I was just there backstage, and they had some guys from the Young Rock there that are filming the Young Rock. For those who don't know, the Young Rock Season 3 is filming in Memphis, Tennessee. They used my ring a few times. But needless to say, the guys in the back are helping with the lighting and all that. And I sat there and I chatted with them most of the show. And I told Johnny after the first taping that was their best show to this date. And it will be, should be airing this week or the next week. I don't know, but that was their best show to this date. Johnny, matter of fact, Johnny Dawson just texted me. So there's big things about to happen. The business, as JR would say, business is about to pick up.
I'm anxious to see this. I like the new studio look.
I do too. I loved it, man. I'll tell you what. And props to him.
I think it made a big difference just in the appearance of the show, production value. And I'm anxious to see. I was actually hoping what we seen Saturday was going to be, well, I knew it wasn't, but I was hoping that we'd get to see the new taping with the full crowd. Because I seen several people make posts about being a really good crowd, even standing room only crowd. And that, I mean, that's one thing that's going to help too. You do your tapings and you got a crowd full of people there going crazy, cheering, booing. I mean, every bit of that's going to help with the look of the show and everything. I was. Go ahead, Mark.
Johnny got this little bell that he rings because he's a new Kang superstar, and one of the best gimmicks I've seen, man. He reminds you, and he'll piss you off real quick because he's ringing that bell. But he reminds you of Richard Lee blowing that whistle for the damn Moondog and how much you want to choke the shit out of Richard Lee with that fucking whistle.
Yeah, you know, he kind of, the whole gimmick strikes me as the Kibbles and Bits dog. You remember the commercial where the big dog's coming down the sidewalk and the little dog's hopping over him yelling Kibbles and Bits, or whatever he's doing? Surround Johnny with a bunch of big-ass dudes like he's got. Let him talk all the shit, but can't nobody get to him. I mean, I can see a lot. I ain't going to say no more because I don't want to give away anything if they are going a certain direction. But there's so much I see that you could do with that gimmick. I mean, I see sky's the limit with that if it's handled well. If it's handled right and they treat it right, I see sky's the limit. You could go forever with nobody even getting to touch Johnny and build up so much heat on that fact, you know? I mean, there's just so many different directions I see in my head of the way you could go with that would just, you could get months and months of shit out of that. Months and months.
That's right. Because you, like me, have a great wrestling brain. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people in this business that don't have that. They want to run a show. Let's get our flips in and be impressive. But that's not the way wrestling business works. Wrestling business was invented on psychology. Exactly. I needed a reason to whoop you. You know what I'm saying? You need a reason to whoop me. We had to have the storyline to go with it. You're missing that in all these little territories now.
Well, you know, like I told you last week, we were taught, even if you had 3 minutes and it was a one-off match, that was your 3 minutes to tell your little story, you and whoever you were working. You tried to tell a story in that 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 2 minutes. You know, guys, I don't think they look at it like that no more. I don't care if I've got 3 minutes. Really, 3 minutes is a long-ass time in a wrestling ring. If you use psychology and you put something together just right, where people, time it started and finished, they can at least understand what they just saw. You know what I mean? It wasn't just a bunch of bullshit and somebody got pinned, a bunch of moves and somebody got pinned. They understood why somebody got pinned by the end of that 3 minutes. And that's how we were always taught, that no matter how much time you got, even if it's a one-off match, that's your chance to tell a 12-minute story if that's all you got, a 10-minute story. Get together, put it together, tell a story, give these people something they can understand. And, you know, that's what I'm looking forward to. That's what I want to see come back.
Now, Mike grew up in the old AWA territories out there in California. Mike actually went to the casinos at the Showboat to see some of those shows. Tell us about it, Mike.
Well, when I was young, way back in the mid-late 80s, and my mom, she moved to Las Vegas when I was young, so I would go up there during the summer. Well, I was probably 12, 13 at the oldest. She would take me to the Showboat for TV tapings, which were Tuesday mornings. It was 4 hours long. It was from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Tuesdays. It wasn't, but there was 200 people in there every time, every Tuesday.
Yeah.
And you're talking the storyline you see in the Memphis Coliseums, you were seeing on AWA TV. Man, that was just, it was awesome as a kid, man. And then you watch that because that's what you get on TV. In Las Vegas, I've got everything on the East Coast. I got Memphis Wrestling. I got UWF, Georgia Championship Wrestling. I got all those.
Yeah.
In Las Vegas. So, I mean, I had to watch it when I was young. So the new stuff, you know, I like it. A lot of it. I like a lot of it. I like because demographics are showing it's going back to the attitude era of age perception of wrestling.
Yeah.
I personally think Vince is working the shit out of everybody, and that son of a bitch is going to come back and bring another set of the attitude era to another level. That's what I think is going to happen. I think he's working everybody.
I think Vince trying to get that $7 billion in his pocket.
I think
I'll be honest with you.
Working everybody.
Look, he don't need $7 billion, does he?
Nah, he don't need it.
Here's the thing. For Vince, it's ego. He built this company and took it as far as he fucking could. Now the only thing left he can do is get as much money as he possibly can out of it, more than he even thinks it's worth. And I think that's the last straw for him. I think he's going to get all he can get out of it.
I'm telling you, he's going to go. That son of a bitch is going to come out and let everybody know I'm never out of this game. Vince is a genius.
I'm with you on that one. I'm 100%.
Absolute genius. Don't get me wrong, I'm not a mark for WWE. Don't get me wrong, I had my Hulkamania headband and shit, but I was 13. Well, I'll tell you what, there's no way this ain't a work. I'm telling you, Vince McMahon is fixing to blow wrestling wide open. Other than that,
I hope it goes back to 1998 and the attitude
what
era.
I'm thinking, in my mind, they're getting edgier and edgier, and all of a sudden, bad boy Vince McMahon's out. Now he's the chairman again.
I think he's too old, man.
Look,
Vince is. I do agree with you. Look, Vince is a fucking genius. Think about this. I've been seeing some stuff about how when they went public, how they had the stocks structured, like Class A stock, Class B stock.
Yeah, all that class.
And Vince and his family owned pretty much all of the Class B stock. The only stock that really matters,
right?
Decision making. So Vince foreseen, he knew when he went public, there would come a day that he would either want to sell this thing, or if he was younger, I think if he was younger, he'd try to buy it back.
Oh, for sure.
Just true. If he was 20 years younger, I think Vince would do everything he could to buy it back so he could turn it private again and go back to the way it was. But I think he's too old he ain't got enough time to put into it no more. I think he won't get as much money as he can. And I think here's the thing, even with Vince in the business now, the business is still dying fast. I mean, it just is. I mean, it's a fact. It's dying fast. They ain't changing that. It ain't like the WWE's changing that fact right now. You know, it ain't like they're doing something that's turning it around where them viewers are coming in droves again, and I just don't think it'll happen. It'll never happen being a public company anyway, because I'm like you. Nowadays, wrestling needs to be geared from 16 to 35. You know, it needs that demographic of young, teenage, college kids, young adults. I mean, I like the more. We growed up on all the wholesome wrestling, no cussing and stuff like that. So that wasn't nothing new. And then the Attitude Era hit, and with ECW before that really come along, and here's the cussing, here's the more adult storylines. The rock and roll is used different, stories are different. It changed it, you know, and I think that's where wrestling's prime, that's where it should be targeted. I understand with the kids, you get the toys, and that goes a long way, but I also think, did they make more money off of toys with the kids than they did shirts and shit from the Attitude Era, merchandise?
Merch was it. Merch was. It's always been the record trendsetter. Was the Attitude Era. They
You know, I would like to see some.
today's prices don't touch it.
Hey,
I'd like to
Buster,
see
let me
some-
ask you this. Speaking of all that, you know, we went over our top organizations on the last podcast. How much heat did you get off of that?
Dude, really, I didn't get none. I actually had one promoter contact me, and this promoter was low on the list. And he said, I mean, really, me and him talked back and forth. He said he thought we did a real good job. Look, if you watch the thing, it ain't like I just made this list out of my personal feelings for anything. I tried to have a certain kind of criteria for everybody of why you were where you were, you know. And I don't know. Like I said, I didn't get no bad feedback personally. You know, I hadn't really been on Facebook a whole lot this week scrolling or nothing. I've been working on videos for my YouTube channel, trying to get a stockpile built up all week. But I hadn't had nobody contact me personally with any negative.
I'm gonna need some money. I'm gonna need some money off every AHCW video you got.
Hey, matter of fact, I'm gonna need money off of every HCW video I got. Oh no, Mike! Look, this man wanting us to buy headphones and all this shit.
Hey, Mike can't say shit. I done offered him a free set.
They want us to buy headphones and shit, spend all this damn money, man. When's them checks gonna start coming this direction, man? You know what I'm saying?
Especially at that $sign, Buster H.R. Johnson.
Hey, it ain't even $. I didn't know that till the next day. That's how there I am. Look, my old lady told me, dumbass, you ain't got to say the $sign. That's just the cash out thing. So it's basically Buster H.R. Johnson. Look.
Hey, there's a negative sign. There's a negative sign inside that $sign.
Hey,
He got a negative cash out.
cash out me some money, and I'll talk to you on the fucking phone about wrestling. Ain't got to be on a podcast or anything. Hell, $20 an hour, I'll talk to you all night long about wrestling.
Hey, I got a question for you. Did a cash app this week show up from Luke Justice?
Man, hell no. You knew better than that.
He still owes you. Hey, Luke Justice, I know you're listening, or somebody who knows you is listening. Cash app that man. You know you owe him probably $5. I don't know what it is. That's $20, but cash app the man his money.
Cash
No,
out.
man, ain't no money showed up to me.
Can't you see that big motherfucker needs some bologna?
Hey, I need to barbecue some fucking bologna.
Hey, barbecue bologna's good.
It
Before we
sure
get off
is.
the air, I know we're probably not going to run as long as we did last time. Y'all want to talk a little bit about talent around the territory?
Let's
You
go.
y'all-
Let's do it.
Shoot a name at me.
Jack Parker Jr.
I think he's wasting his time around here. I done told you. I think he ought to be
Agreed.
going to AEW. Look, he could go to WWF.
I
And
think he should go to Impact and get some TV time and then go.
I think he could go to AEW and get signed. I think if he went down there a few
doubt.
tapings,
No doubt.
I do. I think he's wasting his time around here. I think, here's the thing. You stay around here too long, you get stuck around here. That's just the way it is. That's the facts. If you don't get out when the getting's good, you're going to end up, you're never going to go nowhere. So while he's at the point he's at, he needs to be putting himself out there, because I firmly believe some of these guys could go down there and walk away with 50, 60, maybe even more $1,000 a year contract.
Easy.
And at this point, what do they give a shit? It'd be better to sitting at home and going to a TV taping a week, getting flown out or driving out to a TV taping a week, and you're making more money than you are at your job. Here's the thing: then you don't have to work that job. You can work out more at the gym. Guys like Jack Parker, if he could live the lifestyle where all he had to do was eat right, work out hard, train. I mean, think about how much better he could even be. You know what I mean?
Let me tell you this, and Jack probably gonna listen to this sooner or later, but I have been telling him, and I got the text to prove it. I say, you're being held back, man. Do not let this happen to you. Jack can cut a promo.
Hell
He's
yeah.
got the look. He's got the looks, and he can work a match. He's got everything you need to be a professional wrestler and can make it to the next level. Why they ever stuck me? I know I got a mouth and I love to talk, but they should have never stuck me with Jack Parker. I mean, this guy can do it all, man. He cuts promos for me. He works for me at AHCW. He's my heavyweight champion for a long time, and that's the reason why he's my heavyweight champion, because he's got all the tools to make it. And I hope he does someday, and I hope someday I get a check in the mail that says, "Thank you, Mark."
I bet you do. Look, here's the thing. I'm like you. Here's the sticking point Jack's already at. He's pretty much worked with all of the upper echelon talent around the territory. So he can't get no better. He needs to go somewhere and work different talent, maybe even talent that's better than him right now, for him to get better. He needs to go prove his mettle, man. I mean, he's at the top of the food chain around this territory out of all the companies. I don't care how one company's using him compared to the other. Just as a wrestler, he's at the top of the food chain. He's one of those guys. I mean,
he's also going to St. Louis and working up there for Leland Race, and I mean, he's had an opportunity to go to Japan. I hope that works out for him. That'd be a great learning experience for Jack. Like I said, he's great talent, man. But let's talk about another one, Aaron Roberts.
Go ahead, Mike.
Go ahead.
I think the same thing about Aaron that I do about Jack. I think he's another one of the guys that ought to be down there as much as he can, putting himself in their faces. Look, Tony Khan's giving out contract to guys way worse than these two guys. I mean, that's just the truth. It ain't like, I don't see how these two guys couldn't go down there and walk away with some kind of deal after a couple of times. And here's something about Aaron and Justin Case. Look, I've seen Justin Case manage a lot of guys around here. But I'm going to tell you something. Him and Aaron click together.
Yeah.
There is something special about those two together. They make each other better. Justin,
I think they're one of the top tag teams around.
Do what?
They're one of the top tag teams around.
Hey, look, I'm beginning to think Justin might be Aaron's daddy. Look, I got to looking at him on a promo or something, and I got to looking at him in the face. I'm like, damn, Justin and Aaron kind of look alike. hey, we might need to.
Maybe that's where all this story's headed. Maybe that's where the story's headed.
Hey,
Man,
they might need a little paternity test at the Robertson household, just in case. You know what I mean?
Just in case, baby.
No, look, I really love them together. I love Aaron and his whole family. I broke in with Rocker and Red. I've been wrestling around Rocker and Red and with Rocker and Red my whole career.
Are you and Red related? I mean, you got Red in your head.
No, but we show as hell. I'd be like the fatter version of him when we were young.
Hey, I'll put this out there. Anytime we say the name Justin Case, he's going to send us $50 on Cash App.
Hey, Buster H.R. Johnson.
CashApp.com.
You know,
hey,
honestly,
dollar sign.
Hey, Cash App.
What is y'all's opinion of them together? Because, like I said, the first time I seen them together, to me it was a little awkward. But now that they've kind of found each other, man, every time I see them, Aaron's more cocky, Justin's more intense. There's something about these two dudes together that really works. I'm going to
tell you right now, and Mike can tell you, they put together on one of my shows, July the 4th, and they have been tearing the territory up since.
Yes. I don't think Justin ought to be managing anybody else right now but Aaron. That's my honest opinion. I think they have something that if they get a chance to perfect it, I think they have something special there. They have a chemistry.
I think that's 100%. I agree 100% with that. And it's not to take Justin can do it all, man. We know, that dude, he's good. He's really good. And as long as he's allowed to be him doing what he's doing now, like you said, this thing could really take off, man.
Yeah, I really like them together. They're one of the highlights that I see around the territory.
Oh, for sure.
Let me ask y'all about this. I got a talent. Autumn Marie. Y'all know who I'm talking about?
She should have already been in New York.
Man, this fucking girl is, look, she's one of the best workers around the territory, male or female. Wrestlers are workers. Look, this girl has charisma. She's relaxed in the ring. It's like she was meant for this shit.
Oh, yeah.
She's cool, too. That's the thing. I mean, I see sky's the limit. She's one that I think if she would show up down in AEW, I think she'd walk away with a contract easily. I do. I think she'd walk away with a $60,000, $70,000 contract, probably minimum, easily. And,
I think she could go to NXT and get in the title picture in 6 months.
Here's the thing about NXT now. It ain't like the old days where you got signed to developmental, you practice, and then you went to shows. Now, NXT, from what I understand, is more like a real job. You get your ass up at 8 o'clock in the morning. You do your different workouts, your training. I ain't so sure they don't even have some classes they actually have to go do.
And they work Tuesday.
So most people don't become wrestlers. Most people want to become wrestlers because they want to get famous, be a rock star, and get rich and love wrestling. Most people don't want to be wrestlers to have to still go in and do 9 to 5 shit. So I think she would be better served to go to AEW myself, because I don't think that'd be all that. I think she could still possibly walk away with a good contract. And here's the thing. This girl, she's really ready. All she needs to do is be exposed to the people. I mean, that's the honest truth. I'm as high on her as I could be on any wrestler around here. I've seen this girl do some amazing stuff.
And she's at the right age, too. She's young enough. She can still get out there and still have plenty of time left to make that statement.
Yes, man. She's one on the top of my list of just workers, period, around the area.
Oh, absolutely. 2 years ago, she should already been on the road, like making that big money, because she's that good.
You want to sit here and talk about women wrestling? $1 Million Baby too, same boat.
Absolutely.
I like Baby. Baby's good in the ring. If there's one thing I see about Baby, and I know this from my experience, I feel like this from my experience because I did the same thing. I don't think Baby ever 100% lets loose in the ring. What I'm saying is, not with her moves, just relaxes in there and just bees herself. You know what I mean? It's hard to do in there. I don't think I got real good at doing what I needed to do, but I know for a fact I never 100% let my personality just 100% shine through. You know what I mean? And I feel like when I watch $1 Million Baby, I feel like she's reserved. That's the best way I can say it. I feel like she's reserved and never 100% lets loose. I feel like if she did, I feel like you could see some magic there. But it's hard. I mean, it's hard. If that is the case, I know that from experience. It's hard to just be totally free out there. And I don't think I ever was 100% totally free. I really don't think I ever got to about 80%, and sometimes that last little bit is the pushing over there. That's the one thing I do see in Autumn. When Autumn's in the ring, I feel like she's just living the moment. You know what I mean? I feel like
Autumn comes from a great wrestling family, man. I'll tell you what, Kilo, D-Lo.
Kilo and D-Lo for sure. Absolutely.
Hey, Mom Baby is a hell of a worker, but that's the only thing I see is I feel like she keeps herself reserved a little too much. And if she'd ever be able to just let it all go and let it loose, man, ain't no telling what you could see. I think you could see some magic there, But she's good in the ring. She's got the experience. She's worked, from guys to girls, she's worked damn near everybody around the territory.
All right, so here's another name for you, Zay Washington.
Zay Washington's just. Here's the difference. I think Aaron ought to go to AEW. I think Zay might be better suited for WWE. For the simple fact that I think Aaron, growing up like he did in the business and stuff, is he really ready to commit that much of his life to what you'd have to go to NXT and be in WWE? I mean, you got to pretty much give your whole life up to them. Where in AEW, he can make a damn good living and still get to be who he wants to be and still take all these other bookings out here that Tony Khan would let him. On the flip side, Zay, I think the structure might be the perfect thing for Zay. I think Zay might be. Here's the thing. With the right structure, if he took to it, Zay could be ricocheted. I mean, you know what I mean? He could be right on TV a couple of years from now and look like a whole different person. You know, I mean, that's just the way I feel.
Hey, hang on, guys. We got a special guest coming to the stream. Mike Shaw is about to be here. He is going to tell us what happened with Golden Boy Greg Anthony. What's up, Mikey?
Mike Shaw.
Can you hear me, Mikey?
I can't hardly hear you.
Mike, are you there? Yeah, we just lost Mike Shaw. He was there. He was about to tell us a scoop on what happened.
I want to know what happened. Shit.
He'll call back. You know he's going to call back.
Let's see if we can get him back.
Who else, dude? While we waiting on Mike, what are your names?
Go ahead, West Coast.
Well, I'm just waiting. I'm watching to see when he's going to call right back in. Hopefully his wife will help him get digitally set up, you know.
Derek King.
Derek King.
I mean, what can you say about Derek, man? Derek.
What do you want from him? What do you want from him?
I don't know what they want. I'll tell you what I want from him. I want him to bring his ass out within 60 seconds of that fucking song playing. I mean, truthfully,
I'm going to steal this line from the first guy I ever called commentary with. He said, an entrance so good, you got to do it 3 times.
Man. Goddamn, you ain't got to let
the best lines I heard.
You ain't got to let your whole fucking song play all 3 times, though, man. He loves that song. Look, what can you say about Derek? Derek carved out a spot for himself around this area, around this territory. You can't deny that he's been around forever. He's made sure to keep himself on TV. Every damn TV show that damn near been since fucking Power Pro, Derek's been on, I'd say at least once. I don't know if he's ever on KAW, but I'm pretty sure he showed up on Memphis Championship Wrestling a time.
He was not on KAW.
Okay.
Derek could never handle a chair shot.
Here's the only thing about Derek. Derek wrestles a 80s WWF style. Here's the thing. Derek is perfect. His matches are always perfect. They're always highly controlled. What I'm saying
so we should call him Mr. Perfect.
Well, Derek wrestles 80s WWF style, not an 80s NWA style. Here's the thing. Derek can work his ass off and have killer matches, but they're all highly controlled. All the bumps, every single move is kind of highly controlled. You don't really see Derek get in gritty matches where the sweat's dripping and the spit's flying and they're hitting the ropes and grunting when they shoulder tackles and shit. That ain't really his style. Can he do it? Yeah, he can do it. I mean, I was there when Derek broke into business. Derek can wrestle that way, but that just ain't what he does. But you can't deny what Derek's done around here. He carved out a spot for himself, and I ain't got nothing bad to say about Derek. I'll be honest with you. I've known Derek since he broke in the business, and I've always liked working with him.
Gun show, Brett Michaels.
I tell you what, between EPW himself and Dustin, he's the one guy that they've really done a good job with about creating a star. Here's the thing, around our territory, we don't have guys that look like him. We got littler guys that are ripped and shredded, or we got bigger guys that are heavy set, but we don't have guys that look like Lex Luger. I mean, for around here, he's our Lex Luger kind of. You know, he's a big guy. He's fucking bulky. He's ripped at the same time. I think they've done an excellent job of putting him in the right positions. I'll be honest with you. Between him and EPW and Dustin's show, to me, he's the biggest star that's come from that show so far.
Mike Anthony. Mike Anthony.
5-star, man. 5-star.
You know, I don't really.
That's a badass dude right there, man. That dude's awesome.
I don't know Mike Anthony at all personally. I like what they've done with him. I'll tell you what, I was watching him here a while back, a year or so ago, out of Texas. He was working for a company out of Texas, him and Action Jackson.
That's
and
right.
I really think that right there, to me, that was some of the best of both of them I'd ever seen. And I kind of think that's where the Mike Anthony you see today was born at. Because up till that point, what I'd seen of Mike Anthony, be honest with you, he was just another wrestler. Built good, but he was just another wrestler. When I started seeing him in that company in Texas, they took on a whole different attitude to the business. Mike himself, I think, did. And I think that's why you see the guy you see today. I like the guy I see today. I like him. He's intense. He looks good. Here's the thing. You can't deny he gives it his all when he's out there.
And like you said, match control. He can control the match too.
He's not out there half-assing it. I like him. I mean, it's simple as that. I really like him.
Johnny Dodson.
I ain't got nothing against Johnny. Look, I think it may have been one of the first MCW TV tapings. The first TV taping we had was snowstormed out, so most of the WWF guys couldn't make it. A few of them were here. Brian was here. Lawler was here, and me and Ron was supposed to. We were going to still doing the Hellraiser and Ruthless Ron. It was probably a week or two before we switched to the Mullets. And I had to work Johnny at a TV tape and opening match. And here's the facts. Johnny was just breaking into business at that time. I mean, look, he's a lot bigger now than he was then. You know, he's done bulked up a lot. He was a lot littler then. And I think he got mad because I didn't give him what he thought he deserved in that match. But the fact of the matter is, in general, it was my time, not his. He should have understood that. And for the honest truth to be told, the last thing I was told before I walked out of the dressing room was, because me and Ron we were over, but we went around the territory putting everybody over. The littles, we had a whole feud putting the littles over everywhere. The last thing I was told by the Booker man before I walked out for the match was, you remember how to get over, don't you? And what does that tell you?
The Littles was a good little tag team. Ricky Rodell, Mike Austin.
Yes, man. I'm gonna tell you something. Them dudes don't get the credit. When I first went there, KAW was still more music, hit each other with shit and bleed. That was what their niche right then is what they were still pushing. But if you look at some of the later KAW shows, it turned into a lot more wrestling matches. We still had weapons, but they were more in the confines of certain matches, and the storylines were being told. Me and Motley first started working with the Littles everywhere, and especially Biddy just wanted to bleed, hit each other with shit and bleed.
That's right. Biddy Little definitely liked to bleed.
So me and Motley had settled them down a lot and kind of slowed them down and kind of got them working. Mikey's a hell of a worker. Biddy's a hell of a fucking worker.
Both of them was great workers.
Biddy.
We used to go to Batesville, Arkansas and work them.
Biddy is a slight loose cannon, so you got to kind of keep Biddy reined in at times. But over time, like I said, me and Motley tagged and worked them for a while. And then when me and Ron got a hold to them, because Ron brought a whole different aspect than me and Motley had, you know. So when me and Ron started working them everywhere, that's really when it all started to click for us, the Littles and us. We had a hellacious feud around the territory. Everywhere we went, we worked the Littles, had killer matches. We put these motherfuckers over everywhere. It got to the point where me and Ron were getting over better losing than we could if we'd have won. You know?
Kind of like Boy Tony.
Killer workers, though, both of them. And even Hollywood, you know, they had Hollywood with them. Dude, me and Hollywood in Dixie, Arkansas, me and Ron worked Hollywood and Mikey. And me and Hollywood did a whole opening of a match, big guy midget shit. And it was some of the best shit that I've ever done in my life. Nobody got it on film. It's something that I wish had been filmed because it's something Jerry Lawler, if he would have seen, would have loved. Would have absolutely loved that a guy, me and the Hellraiser whole persona, working with Hollywood and making it work, you know. I mean, it was just fucking awesome, dude. But they were a hell of a group together. That was really Terry Golden's star tag team. I mean, that was his invention. You know?
That's right. That's right. Because they used to work shows with us in Gibson, Tennessee. They were both singles when all that happened. And then, of course, we ran WOWF in Dyersburg, Tennessee. And then we would go over to Batesville, Arkansas, that Mike was part of. He was teaming with a guy named Casino Kid. And we used to pack that in the old gymnasium and had some good times. But I tell you what, we've been about an hour and 15 minutes in, so we're going to wrap this thing up. And next week, on Buster Unmasked, we're going to have Buster's top 10 independent wrestlers.
Heavyweight champions. And
heavyweight champs.
Maybe more than 10. I'm going to rank just like we did the promotions, I'm going to rank the champions and the companies I know enough about to rank. I'm going to rank who I think the top heavyweight champion around the territory is.
So it might be 17.
Might be 35 the way this territory is, dude. Hell,
hey, say what you want to, but there is some talent in this territory, man.
Dude, it's full of talent. That's the thing. There's some killer talent around here. They just all to the point where they need to make the move up and work new talent that's better than them. They've all worked with each other so long. They're kind of, I feel like even the top guys are all at a standstill almost. Let me ask you this. What happened to Mike Shaw?
I don't know. He's going to try to call back. We might have him as a special guest next week. But I can tell you this. You're only as good as the person you work. And that is a fact, Jack.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, this is Mark Southern. That's Mike Angel, and that's Buster H.R. Johnson. And we'll see you next week on the Unmasked, Uncovered Buster H.R. Johnson podcast.